Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Once again, long time no talk. I wanted to get on here today to kind of give some updates and also do my December wrap up. And I know what you're probably thinking, Courtney, why are you posting a December wrap up almost at the end of January? And that is because life has been absolutely crazy. I don't know if you can tell from my like disheveled appearance. Everything's all wrinkled. We are still obviously traveling, and this past month, the month of January, has been insane. We have been in 4 states, at least. Yeah, 4 states just in the month of January, 5 states if you count end of December. So we have been nonstop on the go. I don't think we've stayed in one spot, like one hotel, one Airbnb, one anything for longer than, well, besides Florida, for longer than like 4 days at a time. It's been an adventure. It's been fun, but also exhausting and insane. So don't mind my disheveled appearance. If I seem disheveled, that is why. But anyway, yeah, we are currently in Colorado. At the beginning of January, we were still in Florida for Christmas. We stayed with my father-in-law, and then we were there probably till like a little bit into January. So I can't remember what day we left, maybe like the 4th or 5th or something. So we were there for a few days of January, and then we flew back to New York. We were there for about 4 days, and then we got in the car and we did a 2-day road trip that got us all the way out to Colorado. And then we were in Colorado probably 4, 5, 6 days maybe. And then we ended up driving to New Mexico, and we were there for 2.5 days. The job situation there didn't work out. The whole reason we're traveling is because of my husband's job. But anyway, that one didn't work out, so we drove straight back, and now we're in Colorado again. We've been here for like 5 or 6 days, so this would be the longest now that we've been in one spot. But anyways, I wanted to kind of get that out there and update you guys on that. I don't know if anybody's curious at all about like the travel stuff. Let me know. But yeah, let's get right into my December wrap up. In the month of December, I really should have gotten my reading journal out. Don't know why I didn't. Again, completely disheveled. I'm having fun, but I'm also like unwell. I read 10 books in the month of December. 11 if you count the fact that I finished Caliban's War December 1st, but I don't really count that because I pretty much read the entire thing in November. I read 1, 2, 3, 4 romantasy books, 3 regular romance books, 1 paranormal romance, 1 monster romance, and 1 general fiction book. Let's get into it. I'm going to be popping pictures of the books over here because obviously a lot of these I don't have. We started off the month of December reading Warrior Princess Assassin by Bridget Kemmerer. And I ended up reading this one 4.25 stars. I really enjoyed it. This one follows 3 different characters: a warrior, a princess, and an assassin, and it's kind of not really like a love triangle situation, but more of like even the boyfriends are boyfriends kind of a thing. And I ate it up. I really enjoyed it. It was, I wouldn't say there was like a ton happening, but there was something about the writing and the 3 of those characters together that I was just binging it. I was flying through it. I was eating it up. Like it was, I didn't want to put it down. I read it so fast. It was very enjoyable. I think the plot was, again, there wasn't like a ton going on, but it was still fun. So I would say if you want like kind of more of a low brain power romantasy shorter book, if you don't mind spice, then this one might be for you. And I wouldn't even say that this one had a ton of spice in it from what I can remember. Memory's horrible, so oh my god, I need to chop my fingernails. Anyway, Warrior Princess Assassin, fun time. I do recommend that one. And then after this, I read His Grace the Duke, which is by Emily Rath, which is book 2. Yeah, book 2 in the Second Son series, which is kind of like I think Bridgerton times, but why choose? Yeah. Those 2 things you wouldn't think go together. It's Emily Rath. She makes it extremely spicy, so if you don't like spice, don't pick these up. And book 2, I would say, is even spicier than the first one. I can't remember the main character's name, can't remember anything ever, but she has like 3 love interests and they all get together. It's a silly, goofy time with like I said, Bridgerton vibes. I rated it 3.5 stars. It wasn't anything special. I do think it was way too long. If you've seen these books, they're like, I don't know if you can see this, massive for literally what reason. I think this one was like 565 pages. I did read this one physically. I actually do have it in the other room, but I'm lazy, so I'm not gonna bother digging that out. The book itself is beautiful, and like I said, it's fun. It's fast-paced for the most part, other than it's too long, so there are a couple parts that I felt were a little bit like dragging on. But yeah, it's just a silly, goofy, spicy time, but I recommend it. Maybe. If you like anything about what I just said, then sure, pick it up. But for some reason, I didn't enjoy book 2 quite as much as book 1. Maybe I wasn't in the right headspace for it. I have no idea, but again, 3.5 stars isn't a bad rating, so do with that what you will. After that, the next 3 books were in my one vlog that I did post in December when we were in Michigan, so definitely go watch that. I think I titled that one Cozy Winter Vlog, but if you want to see my in-the-moment thoughts on the next 3, definitely go watch that one. Next book that I read was The Mating Game by Lana Ferguson. Now, if you know me, you know that I love Lana Ferguson. I think still to this day, my favorite book by her is The Fake Mate. None of her newer books have, you know, pushed that one off the top spot yet. So I was very excited for The Mating Game because it's set kind of, it's in this, yeah, it's like the same world as The Fake Mate with like the same kind of premise. So you do have an Omegaverse situation. Again, if you're not into spice, if you're not into Omegaverse wolfy things, then maybe skip this one. But yeah, The Mating Game, I also rated 3.5 stars. So it was, again, enjoyable, but I didn't enjoy this one quite as much. I do remember it being a little bit cheesy / cringy at some points, and again, maybe I just wasn't like in the mood for regular contemporary romance, even though this is technically paranormal romance. I don't know. I lately have not, like in the last month or 2, I have not really been in the mood for romance, just like contemporary romance. So again, do with that what you will, but I did rate it 3.5 stars. It was a quick, easy read, low brain power, and yeah, that was it. Then in that same reading vlog, I then read The Wolf King and the Night Prince by Lauren Palfreyman. I read both of these on Kindle Unlimited, and I did rate both of them 4.5 stars. Highly enjoyed, absolutely flew through them. These are ones that like quite a bit happened in the book, but of course, when I'm thinking back right now, I can't remember much specifics. I just know that the main female character kind of starts out, she's supposed to marry this awful, awful man, and they are, in their world, they're horrible to like the wolf shifters. Like that's a separate, you know, race obviously from just humans, and they treat them horribly. And so in the very beginning of the book, they have a couple of these wolf shifters like fighting each other. They have some kind of down in like the prisons. Long story short, she goes on a journey with one of these wolf shifter men who's kind of known to be like a fierce warrior, of course, you know, very typical, not doing anything crazy different, but it was just a really guilty pleasure fun time, so fast to read. And they kind of reminded me, and I said this in my reading vlog as well, they kind of gave me like Twilight vibes. Not that the plot or anything was a lot like Twilight, but it kind of gives you those nostalgic Twilight era vibes, if that makes sense. Again, just like guilty pleasure, easy, like low brain power reads, and I really did enjoy our characters. I enjoyed the main male character. You also get some snippets of darker, more mysterious character, which we all, I feel like anyone who really loves classic romantasy loves that. And I'm not, again, I'm not like the biggest fan of love triangles unless they are done really well. If they're done in a certain way, then I eat them up. And this is definitely, it's not a complete series yet, I don't think. Yeah. I think based on the way the second one ended, there's definitely another one coming, at least one more, and I can't wait to read that one. I'm probably going to have to read The Night Prince again though to refresh myself, but really fun time, what can I say? And then after that, while I was in Florida, the first book I picked up there was How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn, and this one is kind of like if you took The Grinch, right, but then you turned it into a silly, goofy rom-com with some spice. I loved the idea of that right out the gate. I'm a huge fan of The Grinch. Like the Jim Carrey version of The Grinch is my all-time #1, probably favorite movie ever. Like not even just Christmas movie. It's like one of the best movies of all time in my opinion. I quote it constantly. And so I was super excited for this one, and it kind of disappointed me. It was like way cringier than I expected. I don't think the spice was really for me. It was also way too long. I loved the cover. The cover's adorable. I liked the premise. There were things that I enjoyed about it. I enjoyed reading a Christmas book during Christmas time. I don't do that very often for whatever reason. I don't know. Again, it's not that I don't recommend it. I just don't think this was for me. I rated it a 2.5 stars, and I'm starting to think maybe, hold on, I'm on my Notion so I don't forget things and I can look at my ratings easily, but I'm starting to think maybe Megan Quinn isn't for me, because the 2 books that I've read from her so far that I can remember are this one and then Till Summer Do Us Part, and I kind of had similar feelings about that one as well. It was just so silly goofy that it was like cringy to me. I just didn't like care for it, so I'm thinking maybe I am not her audience, and that's fine. I don't regret reading it or anything like that. It just was what it was. And then after that, I could not figure out what the heck to read. I was still in Florida, and I had seen this one floating around a bit. I'm just gonna put it out there. I read Morning Glory Milking Farm. If you look at the cover and you look at the title, you probably know what this is getting at. And I was kind of expecting just like filthy, out there nonsense monster romance smut, right? Like as one does when you go into a monster romance. But this one actually pleasantly surprised me, and the reason I picked this one up is because so many people said the same thing. But the MMC in this was like so sweet that you almost forget about like the crazy monster stuff. It's not even like monster, it's like he's a minotaur or whatever, which I guess is qualified as monster romance. Whatever. I found the spice, like if you are a spice person, I did find most of the spice in this to be not cringy somehow. Like it was good. The plot was good. I liked our main male character a lot. He made this book. What did I rate it? 4.5 stars? Like I rated it pretty highly. He, for me, made this book. Yeah, I rated it 4 stars actually. And this is by C.M. Nascosta. Have never read anything by them and didn't even really know this book existed until I saw some people on BookTube talking about it. So anyway, yeah, I did read that. It was very short. That was another point in its favor. I needed something short and no brain power at all, and this was it. So yeah, I read that in like a day and a half, and it surprised me. I enjoyed it. And then directly after that, I read City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards. Now this is an urban fantasy that a lot of people say is very similar to Crescent City, SJM's series, like book 1, Earth and Sky. And I did see quite a few similarities. However, I've heard that after book 1, it really strays and like goes its own way. So I wanted to pick it up for that reason. I did enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars. Again, this is one of those books where so much happens that I like, especially towards the end, that I really don't remember. I just remember the strong Crescent City vibes. I liked our main male character. I think his name is Darian. Is it Darian Cassell? I'm glad that I finally know who that is. I did really highly enjoy him, like most people do. So I do think I will be continuing this series. I don't know when. It's a very long, very large series. Okay, why do I keep doing this? I keep clicking on something and getting off of the page that I need. Yeah, I liked Darian a lot. I liked their dynamic. The FMC and the MMC, I really liked their dynamic. The plot was fun, fast-paced. There was just so much going on. The world very much reminded me of Crescent City in a lot of ways. It was good. I can see why people like it. And then after that, I picked up my favorite book of the entire year. Like at the very end of the year, when did I finish this? I finished this on December 28th, and that is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Round of applause. This was my last 5-star book of the year. I actually probably rated it more like 6 stars. A billion stars. It was incredible. I haven't felt about a book the way I felt about Atmosphere in a very, very long time. And this was technically one that I put on my 26 and 2026 list, but I couldn't help myself. It felt like the right time to read it, and I was right, because it was absolutely incredible. Just did it again. Why do I keep... Look at this. Why do I keep going to this random private page or whatever? Anyway, I probably don't need this anymore. Atmosphere follows Joan Goodwin, who is one of the first females to be accepted into NASA's like astronaut program, and this has been her dream forever. And it's also set in the 80s. Again, I'm like questioning myself now, but I believe it's set in the 80s. And so you get all of that like time period politics and like vibe and stuff, which I loved. And I just felt really right. It felt really right reading it in Florida for some reason too. By the pool, it was perfect. But this book, it starts out kind of like dry. Joan is a very scholarly, a little bit maybe more on the dry side of a person anyway, and so I think TJR does an incredible job of showing that, and like you literally are her. I loved her relationship with her niece. Again, incredible. Made me tear up at certain points. The ending was insane. I sobbed. I think this is one of those books that I sobbed so hard. Like I can't think of many books that I have sobbed this hard at, is what I'm trying to say. Just absolute sobbing, ugly crying, couldn't breathe. The ending was incredible. I was literally shaking and had goosebumps, and I can't tell you the last time a book has done that to me. So that's why it gets all the stars. I think throughout most of the book, like throughout the first half, I was like, oh yeah, this is amazing. This is like 4.5, possibly 5-star territory. And then in the second half, I was like, this is everything, absolutely everything. I highlighted so many quotes. Maybe I should pull those out. I highlighted so many different things in Atmosphere because the writing was beautiful. And it was one of those books that just made me think deeply about life and about wonder for like the natural world. And I love anything that can do that. Literally annotated like 20 plus things. Once when Joan was a teenager, her mother told her that she and her sister each had their own strengths. She said that Barbara's were loud and Joan's were quiet, but both were powerful in their own way. I relate to that. There's also a lot of like really long quotes in here, so I'm not gonna read all of them to you. I think absolutely everyone should read this book. 100,000,000% recommend. As you can probably tell from my raving review. Just love all of her, like the way that she looks at the world and the stars and stuff. So here's a quote portraying that. Astronomy was history because space was time, and that was the thing she loved most about the universe itself. When you look at the red star Antares in the southern sky, you are looking over 3,300 trillion miles away. But you are also looking more than 550 years into the past. Antares is so far away that the light takes 550 years to reach your eye on Earth. 550 light years away. So when you look out at the sky, the farther you can see, the further back you are looking in time. The space between you and the star is time. I don't know. I just really, really liked that. There was also some like really funny moments between our main character and the love interest. This is a love story, but I wouldn't say that it's like, I don't know, it's just so much more than that. It's so much more than a love story. I think sometimes people don't pick up books because they are marketed as romance. Like if you're not a romance reader, don't go into it thinking that there is a romance, but like there's just so much more. I don't want to read some of these quotes because I don't want to spoil anything. I think everybody should just like experience it for themselves. She did believe that God was there, was everywhere. The wonder of the night sky was as good a place to connect with it as the smell of a grapefruit or the warmth of a pocket of sun. Incredible imagery. Skipping past some of the longer quotes. Honestly, this entire book, I could just highlight the entire thing. All she could think about was how grateful she was that the Earth was 93 million miles away from the sun today. Far enough to be warm, but not too hot. Just the right distance for life on this planet. Another one that I relate to a lot. What's the thing you like that most reminds you of being a child? Like, I love Christmas. I love going to bed on Christmas Eve and knowing tomorrow morning will feel bright and twinkly and exciting. And it doesn't matter that the presents aren't for me anymore. It still feels like magic is coming. That is literally word for word how I feel about Christmas. So many things about like watching children grow up. Again, like her relationship with her niece is precious. So many good quotes about love. Oh, now we're getting into the quotes that made me cry. Again, I'm not going to read these because I don't want to spoil anything. We'll end it there. 10 out of 10, no notes. Best book that I read the entire year. Favorite book of the entire year. After that was a very hard one to follow. After Atmosphere, what did I read? Oh yeah, the last book that I read in December was Heated Rivalry, which is by Rachel Reed. Now, obviously I read this because of severe FOMO. Everyone and their mother was talking about this hockey romance called Heated Rivalry that is also a show. I still have yet to watch the show. I want to. I just literally have not had like any downtime for watching anything. And also like when you're in a hotel, I sometimes like don't want to log into my stuff at a hotel. I don't know. I'm very weird about that kind of stuff. But Heated Rivalry, I really enjoyed. I see what everyone is saying about it. I loved the relationship between Ilya and Shane. They just had a really precious dynamic, and I can tell that there's so much more to their story. I have not read their second book in the series yet, the second one that follows them. I have not read that one yet, but I've heard that that one's like heavier, but also just beautiful, so much depth, so much light shown onto like mental health and depression and stuff. So I think eventually I will read that. I just wasn't really in the headspace for heavy at the moment at that time. But I did rate this 4.5 stars. It was super fast paced. Again, I think I read it in like 2 days, maybe. It was great. I, again, highlighted so many different things, like just dialogue between the two characters that I was obsessed with. It is very spicy, I will tell you that. I think it's the way that they get together is a very lust-forward thing, but it turns into so much more, and they are precious to me. So Anyway, we ended the year and the month of December out with a huge bang with those last two books, because I felt like for a long time I kind of had some like okay books, and then I just had some, you know, random outliers of things that I didn't even plan on reading that I ended up enjoying. And then we had Atmosphere, which was 6 million stars, and Heated Rivalry, which was also an incredible fun time. And so I can't complain. But yeah, that is every book that I read in December. I thought about doing December and January's together because of how late this is, but then I was like, oh, the longer I wait to make this video, the less I will have to say about those December, like beginning of December books, because of my horrible memory. So I figured, let's just do it now. Who cares, right? Who cares if it's late? It's better late than never, right? Anyway, I would love to know what you read in the month of December. What have you been doing in the start of the new year? Yeah, just let me know all the things. Let me know what banger books you've been reading lately, and I hope to catch you soon. Bye!